Here are seven ways to make $10,000 a month in crypto, rated by risk and how much capital you actually need in order to do this. The seventh one, of course, is the most surprising and the best, so do stick around to hear about that. And of course, these are not all like easy, right? In fact, some of them are actually really risky. Literally, you can lose all of your money, so do keep that in mind. And no, not all of them are just set it and forget it passive income kind of stuff. Some of these actually require you to go out and do work, put in time and effort with research and clicking buttons and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. And we're gonna be starting here with the most capital intensive options, but also probably the safer options before we go and get into the YOLO options that can make you rich with as little as $1,000 or even starting from zero. Yes, they exist, so make sure to watch the video. First, let's talk about crypto bonds. Yes, you can now buy US Treasury bonds on the blockchain, which is actually pretty cool. Companies like Ondo Finance actually offer you the ability to move your stable coins into things like money market funds and US Treasury bills at a 4.77% rate at the time of recording this video. That basically lets you buy what is considered by most to be one of the safest assets in the world and to do it on chain. So what's the risk rating here? Pretty low, although do keep in mind that smart contracts can still be hacked. These platforms where you're accessing these do have vulnerabilities. So it's not as safe as buying via a brokerage account, for example. And what about the capital needed in order to make $10,000 a month? Well, you're gonna need about $2.5 million for this one. Yeah, everyone has that laying around, right? You got $2.5 million just sitting around. The second method here, staking Ethereum. Recently, staking rates went as high as 8.7% for Ethereum. And although they have since cooled off to around 5%, let's just say for the sake of our example, rates will go back up. We're gonna see lots of on-chain activity, and we're gonna have 8% once again being the norm for Ethereum staking. Well, then in that situation, you can make some sweet, sweet yields off of staking your ETH. That 8%, of course, is paid out in ETH and not in dollars like the bond example that we just gave. So it means that you can either sell your ETH straight away for cash in order to realize those gains, lock in the ROI, or you can play the markets, hold the ETH and sell it at the next cycle, obviously in hopes of doing that for more money. That can easily amplify your gains potential here. Now I'll break down the math in a moment, but first, how risky is staking your Ethereum? Well, staking Ethereum is pretty low risk by crypto standards. However, there are a few things to consider. If you're using a staking provider, do keep in mind that, well, they can get hacked. That can happen, even if it's unlikely. It's also something to keep in mind that if you are self-staking, well, self-staking can actually result in losses too via things like slashing, which can result in a big loss of funds. So it's not super risk-free, but low risk. And what about capital allocation? Well, to earn $10,000 a month at the current prices and assuming a higher staking rate than is currently available at 8.8%, then you would need about $1.5 million invested, or about 8,000 ETH, which will earn you about 64 ETH per year, assuming that higher staking rate. Now, if, however, the price of ETH were to reach, say, $10,000 per coin next bull run, then the ROI on that staking would be more like 40%. But even with such moon math, it would actually require about $300,000 invested in order to get that 10K per month target, assuming you're cashing out later when the prices are higher. Still a lot of money by any standard. Number 3, low caps. Now this is not something that's easy to do at scale because liquidity is often very low on these, but every month we see low cap coins put in massive gains. Coins like Radiant Capital, Libra Finance. You know, it's funny, I actually told my newsletter about Radiant Capital before it pulled its massive run, did like 10x in a few weeks, but I actually myself failed to pull the trigger. I kept saying to myself, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. But then, tomorrow came, the price went up, my ego got in the way because I could have bought it yesterday for less and I couldn't bring myself to do it, knowing that I could have bought it lower. Emotions mess us up sometimes. Anyway, somebody made money off it, but it wasn't me. So what about the risk rating? Well, the risk rating here is high with low caps. Low caps have massive failure rates, 90% plus fail. They can literally go to zero overnight. You will also have to really put in the homework here. A dozen new semi-serious looking projects launch every single day. A few of those might actually be worth your money. And of those few, maybe 1 or 2 will put in some kind of big gains. So if you want to find these, you got to watch socials for early whispers and What about the capital needed here? Well, it's pretty low. You can actually probably make $10,000 a month flipping these small caps with just $1,000 as your starting capital. Really the great part about low caps, to be honest. If you put in the effort, then you can get rewarded for that and you can make some pretty nice returns. However, if you are trading with millions of dollars, then low caps won't be worth your time since there won't be the liquidity to exit those positions. So you gotta keep that in mind. And that leads on to number 4, leverage trading, a high liquidity, high risk, and high reward game. This is basically trading on steroids. It allows you to dramatically increase your gains by using leverage, but it also introduces enhanced risk as well as the risk of liquidation, which can wipe out your entire position. But riding the waves of volatility in the market has indeed made many a trader very, very rich. And with a bit of leverage, a 10% move on Bitcoin can actually turn into what was just a really kind of boring move into 100% gains. That's what 10x leverage does. Risk levels here, I'm gonna say medium to high. High risk if you don't know what you're doing, and medium risk if you do have some understanding of how to use leverage, you use low leverage, and you use a stop loss and manage your risk with position sizing, all that kind of stuff, use isolated margin, etc. What about the capital needed to make $10,000 a month? Well, the sky is really the limit, but I would say at least $10,000, maybe $20,000 or even $30,000. Don't look for those 100% gain moves all of the time because it's easier to compound a few nice 20, 30, 40% moves into bigger gains over a time period. By the way, if you want to try your hand at leverage trading, then I recommend doing it over on BYBIT. Is the best place for trading futures. Use the link down below to start your account and you'll get exclusive fee discounts, deposit bonuses up to $30,000, and for a limited time, a free $1,000 BTC USDT trading position. Check it out. Now let's talk about number 5, meme coins. We've heard all the stories about the early investors who bought Dogecoin, who bought Shiba Inu, they bought Pepe, they made millions of dollars almost overnight. Those guys are the exception, they're not the rule. Most people lose money on meme coins, but money can indeed be made in this super volatile niche of the cryptocurrency market. But how is it done? Well, here is what successful meme coin apes tend to do. They spread lots of little bets around. Buy 10 meme coins, put $100 on each coin, with the expectation that they're not going to be rug pulls, scams, whatever, and go to zero, but hopefully one moons. Now let's talk risk. This is super high risk and you will likely lose all of your money that you put into meme coins. Even if you do get a quote unquote winner, then you still, in almost every case, need to sell aggressively because 99% of meme coins, even the ones that pump like crazy, are going to be worth zero within 6 months. Heck, sometimes 6 days. The window for profit can be very short. Capital needed here, very little. This is the attraction of the meme coin game. Some guy put 200 bucks into Pepe, he made millions. That's the dream, right? But if you want to win at the meme coin game, you need to be careful to not be exit liquidity. Seriously, hustle hard to find new coins early. Get in those Discord groups, get on the Reddit groups, follow small accounts on Twitter, stuff like this. Find that early stage alpha because by the time everyone is talking about a meme coin, it's too late. Number 6, airdrops, airdrop farming in particular. The general laziness of people never ceases to amaze me. Sorry to say it, guys, but look, there are regular airdrops and testnets out there worth thousands of dollars that literally anyone can get if you just spend a few minutes to make a few button clicks. It's absurdly easy. You may not be able to consistently make $10,000 a month farming airdrops, but the occasional big payday does come and you can actually make thousands of dollars per year, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars per year. There are people who are making tens of thousands, sometimes even 6 figures per year farming airdrops. Now, I personally made $5,000 on the recent Arbitrum airdrop this year, and many newsletter subscribers also got a good payday from that. We had so many tutorials and notices on how to be qualified for that. Anyway, what about the risk? Well, it's low, very low in many cases, since things like testnets literally require zero money, no money at all, just a bit of your time. Occasionally, airdrop requirements may say, well, you have to own a certain coin, you have to stake a certain coin. That can introduce more risk when you see those situations, so keep that in mind. Capital needed, again, most of the time it's either a free to use testnet, all you have to do is click the buttons and you get the money, or it's an airdrop for a coin you already hold. By the way, we share one promising airdrop every week in the free Wealth Mastery newsletter, link below. And number 7, liquidity farming. Many a fortune has been made by being a liquidity provider into early protocols, good protocols, whatever it might be. The idea is pretty simple. You put coin A and coin B into some kind of liquidity pool on some kind of DeFi platform. And then you earn a portion of the fees from that pool, plus often an extra token on top of that as some kind of added incentive. Now, I have been doing this with a small position on Trader Joe recently, and I made $1,000 in the last month doing that. Nice, I'll take that, that's great. Now, it'd be pretty easy to scale it up to $10,000 a month per se with some additional capital put in. And some of the other pools on Trader Joe, for example, have very large rewards. The Joe ETH pool right now is at 324% at the time that I recorded this, which, to be very clear, comes solely from actual yield. These massive returns, they're not just all inflationary tokenomics stuff. This actually comes from the high rate at which traders are buying and selling Joe and ETH, right? Thus, the liquidity providers into the pool are making big bucks right now because people are just paying truckloads of fees into that pool. That's where the money comes from to pay these people. Now let's talk risk. There are, of course, a lot of risks here. Rates change at 324%, might be 50% in a week, and permanent loss is prevalent. High rate, high fee shit coins, they can go to zero, leaving the pools near zero, your liquidity position near zero, your loss near total. Smart contract hacks happen again, result in complete losses. A lot can go wrong, so be careful. What about the capital needed? Well, you can start with any amount of money, of course, but if you want to get that magical $10,000 a month number, well, you're probably in most cases going to need a few $100,000. Sorry, but higher risk pools can make you like $10,000 a month with as little as $40,000 or $50,000. Again, adjusting for risk here because you might lose it all. Okay, that's it. Subscribe now. I'll see you next time.